All right, welcome back. We are going to be going over Revit walls. This is going to be lecture 4. In this lecture, I'm going to be covering profiles. I'm going to build a small house, and then I'm going to show you a couple of tools that you'll be able to find handy while you're working in the project. So, I've got my Revit screen here, and I'm not going to worry. I'm going to just go with a generic. We don't need to worry about setting that up. Just what I want to focus on in this demo is actually working with the area itself. So I'm going to start by setting my height to level 2 instead of unconnected, and that's going to let it just automatically go to that height, so I don't have to go back and change everything that I'm doing here when I start building this. And I'm not going for any particular design. I'm just going to kind of throw something together here, and let's do like a weird hallway situation here. And yeah, okay, that works. So, and you can see how quick that was to throw a small house together. Obviously, it would take a little bit longer if you were going for actual measurements. But what I wanted to cover was, first let's go to profiles. So I kind of threw this into an earlier demo, but I want to, let's see, it's right behind the camera. All right. I want to go over some of the things you can do with profiles. And again, like I said, we kind of worked on this earlier. But one of the examples that I wanted to cover here was being able to actually put out sections in the middle of your wall. And what you can do is actually switch between different, well, I'll show you. So I've got this section of wall here, and I think I got the right, no, of course I got the wrong one. So let's go with that right here. Other side. Okay. So I've got this profile right here, and again, this is more important that you understand editing profiles for what we'll be doing with the floors and the ceilings later. Same properties apply. This is just a vertical situation where you're using it. So I've got this wall selected. I'm going to hit edit profile here at the top, and then I can come in here and I can draw a rectangle that's through this. And so what you see here is that you have sort of the outside area, you have the first outer perimeter, and then as soon as you get another shape that intersects that, that ends up creating a hole in that surface. So when I hit check mark here, and then go back to my 3D view, you can see that there is in fact a hole here in this wall. Okay, so there's a couple things you can do with this. One of them has been something I've kind of messed around with in the past, and it's being able to insert a different type of wall into that space. So let's see, let's go back to, it was the west side, and we're gonna do, let's choose a different wall. Come on, come on. Oh, duh, gotta be in the wall. All right, so let's do just a completely different wall here, and I'm just gonna place it right on top of this wall right here, and it's gonna give me an error, but it's gonna let me place that wall there. And I'm going to come back over here, and you can see that right now I've got this shape going on right here. I could simply drag this down and find a way to get this to snap in here like that. And then if I go back to the 3D view, and let's actually turn on realistic, and we can get, oh, that's backwards. Always remember, the arrows are on the outside. I think I covered that in a previous demo too. So there we go, there's our brick wall on the outside of this surface. So you can see that you can kind of put something in there. That's not exactly a complex shape, and so here's something that you would find kind of more difficult to do, that kind of Revit can do this. So I'm just going to set this back to full height. I'm going to go back to this wall, edit the profile, and instead of doing that, I'm going to do something a little bit weirder. So let's do that, and oh, come on. No? Alright, fine. I will delete you instead. So, instead we have a space like this. There we go. Okay. So, that would not be as easy to actually insert that wall into that shape. So, when I hit check mark there, we now have the two walls intersecting with each other. And what I can do is I'm just going to drag this wall Actually, I can leave it there because I'm going to edit the whole profile. So what I can do now is I can come in here and I can just delete really those parts of that wall, and then I can start drawing along this surface right. Oops, missed that a little bit. We'll come back. Um, Actually, I'll leave that error there so I can show you an error too. So, all right, so there's a couple errors too. I should show you guys those as well while I'm doing this. So right here there's a little gap, and then this line extends past, and so when I hit the check mark, Revit's going to highlight these as orange. So that's something you want to watch out for when you're doing this. And oh no, is it behind my camera? Oh no, hold on. Okay, through TV Magic I dragged my error box out. So this is the Revit error box. It was just behind my camera here. So it says lines cannot intersect each other. Highlighted lines currently intersect. So there's an issue going on here. And so now it's going to kick me back. And so I can either edit this or I can hit the red X and actually cancel back out from this portion. And I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this line and I can drag this down. I can drag this up. And then again, there's a gap right there, so now when I hit the check mark, it's going to say they must be enclosed loops. It's going to highlight that here as well with the orange over the pink. And so I can come in here and just drag that closed, green check mark, and it, what's the error now? No, it's behind there again. I got it. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that. It's just telling me, it's giving a suggestion that I should not do this, but this is how we're going to do it. So there's that wall. That's something that would be interesting to be able to create if you want to get two different surface changes inside of a wall like that inside of Revit. But it's mostly kind of a demo to show you guys how profiles work and how you can work with them inside of Revit. All right. So as far as getting rid of a profile, all you've got to do is click on the wall. Actually, you can go in there, click on it, edit profile, select all these surfaces, green check mark, or I can just go click on it and click the reset profile button up at the top, and that'll do the same thing where it'll just get rid of all those changes. All right, so let's go back to 3D view. So this is that house I made, and so this is kind of a typical way where I'd quickly lay out a house. And what you'll find is often you'll have sections like these walls right here where you've got a hallway, or you've got something where you need to change, but I can't just take this section of the wall and adjust this over. All right. So what I need to do is I have a couple tools up here I wanted to show you, and the first one's going to be slice, and slice is split, not slice. And so what I can do is I can click on it, and then when I hover over this, you can see that it kind of highlights on this area right here, indicating that this dashed blue line is what it's going to cut, and then this thin little gray line right here is where it's going to cut. So I can click here, and I can click here, hit escape to clear out of the tool, and then I can click on this element right here and hit delete, and now I've got that open as a space, as a hallway. Okay. I'm going to undo that because I actually want to do something else with this, which is oh yeah, I need to do this wall as well. So we don't necessarily, actually no, we do want to do this wall. Yeah, I do want to do this wall. Okay. So oftentimes we'll have to go in there and make modifications to things. So for example, if I wanted, say, a raised ceiling in this part of this house, I would actually have to separate these chunks out. And so here's a case where you'd want to use a top offset. Oh, shoot. Keep the mouse in the box. There we go. And 2 foot. Move it out. Okay, so then in this case, like, say that I actually want this to come up only a little bit. So I can move this up to here, and then, actually, I'll type that in because that's messy. All right, so 2 foot on the top, and then we'll do a base offset of 8 feet so that it'll actually, well, actually, I don't think I set up the heights. Yeah, it's 10-foot ceilings here. So that would work for actually having a ceiling at 8 feet through this hallway. And then this side as well, come back here and 2 feet as well. So that's how you would set up an area where, say, this just the ceilings in this part of the house have a raised area where it might go higher up for a decorative ceiling in that right kind of area there, but then a lower ceiling area here. We'll get into ceilings later again. I know I'm trying to stick super close just to walls for the purposes of this. All right. Couple other tools that I wanted to go over. So some of these you've kind of had in Revit, or sorry, not in Revit, in AutoCAD. So there's offset. So if I was to click on this wall, click on the offset tool right here, it's going to give me a distance. So let's say I want to do an offset wall of 10 feet. And then you can have the box checked to copy. So that's going to either copy it or it's going to move it like that. So no, 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 no. There we go. Okay. So yeah, we want to do copy, and so now it, and just kind of like AutoCAD, when you hover over it, if you're close to it, it'll activate, but it's really going to depend on which side. I'd like to point at my screen, but I can't. But you can see that there's that line. It's going to appear down here. If I hover down here, it's down there, right there, and then opposite, so it's up here at the top if I hover on that side. So it's going to show you like a preview of where it's going to place this line. So if I did want a series of, say I'm doing a whole bunch of 10-foot wide rooms, it's going to save me a lot of time being able to place that and then come back with one more, oops, one more super thick wall. Let's see, go back to 8-inch. And I'd be able to just close that off and then do the rest of, say, what might be an office. The other thing is so we've got a couple other tools. So let's do like rotate. Rotate's going to default to the center here, so you can start, snap to one area, give it an angle in degrees, and then click. Another option is to actually use rotate, and then you can choose the center of rotation. So if I wanted to rotate it, say on the center here or this corner, I could do that, set my start, and rotate. And then let's see. So we did slice, split. Oh, array. So let me do this. So kind of like the offset tool. So we've got this right here. And so what I'll do is I will choose the array tool right here, and it'll take what I start with, and then I will click once. Oops. Oh, sorry, got that backwards. No, we're already going. Array. All right. So that's the distance right here. You can see it dragging off. Oh, okay. No, I was right the first time. That was funny then. All right. So start with that. Click once. All right. Click on the thing to do your first reference point, direction and distance. So let's say 6'9", and then it's going to give me this box right here, and I'll be able to actually enter a number for how many times it duplicates this in the array. So I can do something like 5, and it's going to multiply that out. Very similar to the process that we might do it in, say, SketchUp, where we would take an element, move and copy it, and then you'd have something that you could have multiples of super quickly. Now, when you do this, it's going to actually group them, and grouping is something that you want to watch out for when you're working in Revit. Groups do really spooky activity. So anytime you do something that would cause a group like this, and you can tell it because it's got this little line, once you're done and you're happy with it, hit on group up here in the top. Okay, um, it's one of those things where it gets messy, and it's easier to just not deal with it entirely. So just watch out for that. Anytime you do something like an array where you end up with groups, just click that ungroup, and oh, yeah, that's the other thing is you can drag them too. But it does it around the original. Anyway, let's see. Let's ungroup these. You have to get all of them too. And it's not going to like that. There we go. Ungroup. Okay. So, what else do we have? I think that's kind of it. Oh, mirror. Let's do mirror. So, and this is kind of something more with furniture. Um, I'll just throw in something. So let's get a desk. So we've got a desk right here. That's how easy it is. Put furniture in Revit. Ta-da, furniture. Okay, so back to level 1. So for example, if you were setting up an office, you'd be able to take this, do that, and then say have like 5 different copies of this desk in the office, ungroup them, control ungroup and ungroup. All right, So we don't need that one because that's in the wall. So that's how you would quickly kind of set up an area where you've got multiple desks using the array tool. And then let's say you've got one row here, but you want to kind of get one on the other side of the room. So if these were to snap kind of nicely up against that wall, I could then use the mirror tool. And so there's two types. There's the pick axis, and then there's the draw axis. Draw axis usually end up just doing the same thing anyway, so it's easier to just go with pick axis. So I click on it, and then I'm going to find kind of the axis that I want, and let's go with right there. It's going to copy it, and then I can select these and do that. Versus if I was to select correctly and then do draw axis, I could actually come to the center of this wall, draw this down, and then copy them over. And so now I've got a whole set of desks in this room that would very quickly and easily be able to be laid out. Okay, so I think, let me check, that kind of covers it. So this was just kind of a demo showing a couple tools and things. What I'm going to do in the next demo is I'm going to show you guys how to insert doors and windows, and then I'm going to go a bit more in depth into materials for the walls as well. So I kind of covered stuff. I mentioned we'll get into it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.